Welcome to Building Character, the show where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. We'll be using 5th edition statistics and all books related to it. Today we'll be doing our first Avenger, which also happens to be the first Avenger. Steve Rogers, aka
Captain America.
Created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby in 1941, Steve is the ultimate American hero. Strength, agility, and courage all wrapped up in patriotic tights. Let's start off by figuring out exactly what we need to be the Star-Spangled Man. First and foremost, Captain America has remarkable physical strength and agility thanks to the Super Soldier Serum. Next, we need to figure out how to make a vibranium shield, and finally we'll dig a little bit deeper into the man beyond the serum. For stats, we're going to be using a standard point buy from the player's handbook. That's 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. If you or your DM would rather have you roll stats, that's fine too. Just use this as a guide where to put your highest and your lowest. We'll start off with strength. Captain America is the picture of physical fitness. No wonder they had him do those PE videos. Next up is a bit of a toss-up. Could be Constitution, could be Dexterity, but honestly it doesn't matter. We'll balance both to 14 after applying racial bonuses, so do whatever you want. For the soft stats, start with Charisma. He is the leader, after all. Followed up with Intelligence. He's not stupid, but he's not a genius like some other Avengers. Finally, dump Wisdom. He's not particularly unwise, but we have to dump something, and he didn't really pick up on that whole Hydra infiltration of S.H.I.E.L.D. nonsense. Choosing a race, we'll go for a variant human. This will give us 2 points to put anywhere, an extra language, a free skill, and a free feat. Starting with the feat, we're going to go with Tavern Brawler from the player's handbook. Technically speaking, Steve Rogers doesn't get into many bar fights, but you get a +1 to your strength or constitution, proficiency with improvised weapons, that's your shield, and 1d4 for punches with the ability to grapple as a bonus action after using one of these attacks. Use your 2 free points to boost up either strength, dexterity, constitution, or charisma. Just make sure your charisma is at least 13. We'll need it there later. Pick any language you want. Elvish and Dwarvish seem to be used a lot. Go ahead and take those. Take persuasion for your skill. You can't get it anywhere else in this build, and Mr. Rogers does have a way with
price of freedom is high. It always has been. And it's a price I'm willing to pay.
As far as background goes, take Soldier. You get proficiency in athletics and intimidation, plus the military rank feature, giving you extra influence over military personnel. Your DM decides what that means. Now we'll get into the nuts and bolts, what levels to take in what class. This being our first video, we're going to keep it pretty simple. Captain America is a fairly basic fighter with a quirky little shield and a multitude of feats. Level 1 fighters get to choose 2 skills, take Acrobatics and History. Steve literally lived through it. You also have proficiency with all forms of weapons, armor, and shields. You'll be wearing leather armor, even though you have the strength for heavy armor, but sorry, it's what he wears. Good news though, you can boost that regrettably low AC with a shield. Pair this with fighting style Protection, which allows you to impose disadvantage on anyone making an attack against an ally within 5 feet of you as your reaction. Finally, you get Second Wind, which allows you to heal 1d10 plus your fighter level as a bonus action once per long rest. Level 1 fighter gives a lot of nice things. It's probably why it's so popular for multiclassing. Level 2 is a little more simple. You get Action Surge. It gives you the ability to make 1 additional action per long rest on a turn. That's it, but it's pretty useful. Level 3, you get to choose a martial archetype. There are a few good options. Battlemaster might seem like the obvious choice, but I'm actually going with Eldritch Knight. I know that Steve isn't really casting spells around the battlefield, but there's a way to make this build work better than anything else. The main reason is Weapon Bond. Now Captain America can throw his shield all he wants and it will always come back as a bonus action.
That thing does not obey the laws of physics at all.
Look, kid.
As far as spells go, we're going to take some spells that aren't really spells. You get 2 cantrips, Blade Ward, which grants resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, which you could attribute to Cap's superhuman resistance, and True Strike gives you advantage on your next attack roll against a target, which we could chalk up to Cap's tactical expertise. For first level spells, there's one called Shield that adds 5 to your AC, making you much harder to hit. You get to use this as a reaction. You can learn 2 more spells, but you only have 2 slots at this level, so use them sparingly. Also make sure they're either Evocation or Abjuration. That's all you're allowed to take as an Eldritch Knight. I won't tell you which ones, but Shield is good and it's in character, so use that a lot. 4th level, you get an ability score improvement or a feat. We need quite a few feats, so for this level, take the Athlete feat. It's +1 to Dex or Strength. Standing up from prone only costs you 5 feet of movement instead of half. Climbing doesn't cost any extra movement, and you can jump with only 5 feet of windup. It's not that great of a feat, but it's in character and it fills out the non-combat benefits to the Super Serum. 5th level, you get your first extra attack. This means that every time you make an attack, you can make a second attack, and still have your bonus action available if you want to recall that shield to you. 6th level is another ability score improvement, or in your case, another feat. At this point, go for Inspiring Leader. This is why we needed the 13 Charisma. With this, you can grant your team temporary hit points by giving an inspirational 10-minute speech. Hit points equal your Charisma modifier plus your level, so maybe bolster that Charisma score a bit down the line. Side note to DMs, please don't make your player talk for 10 minutes. It's a lot longer than it sounds.
Did you write that down first? Or was it off the top of your head?
7th level allows you to make attacks as a bonus action after you use a cantrip, so go ahead and give yourself advantage on the attacks you really need to hit with True Strike, or give yourself some additional resistances and make an attack, or just forget the cantrip nonsense and keep hitting stuff. Just because you have something doesn't mean you have to use it. 8th level is another ability score improvement, or another feat, which is really the reason Captain America is a fighter. They are totally unmatched in the amount of feats they can have. Now you can take Shield Master and get better at using that fancy shield your friend's dad made for you. With this, you can shove people 5 feet as a bonus action, contest your athletics, it's your strength modifier plus your proficiency, with their athletics or acrobatics. You can also add your shield's AC bonus to dex saves, that's +2, and you can take 0 damage instead of half damage if you pass the dex save. Remember, this takes your reaction, so if you do this, you can't cast shield when someone else attacks you. At the 9th level, you gain the Indomitable ability. This lets you re-roll a failed save once per long rest. It's pretty good and fits in with Cap's tenacious personality. 10th level, you get Eldritch Strike, which allows you to impose disadvantage on saving throws against spells you cast on people you hit with attacks. This applies to a couple of spells you could be using at this level. Burning Hands, if you want to say that Captain America found a flamethrower. Thunderwave, if you have a friend with a magical hammer hit your shield. Gust of Wind, if, I don't know, Cap flaps his arms real hard. Just keep casting shield. 11th level gives you another extra attack, which means you can hit people 3 times anytime you make an attack. Pretty simple. At 12th level, one might assume we're done with feats, but Captain America is a special boy who deserves special things. This is where we satisfy everyone yelling in the comments about how he should have been a battle master and take the Martial Adept feat. You learn 2 maneuvers, but you can only use 1 superiority die per long rest. The best option is Commander Strike, which allows a teammate to use their reaction to make an attack and add 1d6 to the damage. I'd give it to the green guy.
And Hulk. Smash.
13th level gives you another usage of Indomitable. You remember what that does. You also get 2 3rd level spell slots, which could be used for counterspell. This allows you to cancel out someone else's spell of 3rd level or lower as a reaction. If it's 4th level or higher, you have to roll 10 plus the spell's level. Don't worry, you get to add your intelligence modifier to that check, which if you're using book scores is currently 0. Hooray! We'll get slightly closer to being good at that after taking another feat. Don't worry, this is the last one, and it's Linguist. A little underwhelming for 14th level, but you get +1 to intelligence and 3 languages, and you can create secret codes. Not something Cap does often, but in World War II he learned several languages, so get Draconic, Sylvan, Infernal, whatever 3 you think would be useful. Metagame a little bit, I won't tell anyone. Level 15 allows you the Arcane Charge ability, which allows you to teleport 30 feet when you use your Action Surge. For flavor purposes, just say you're jumping. You also get to decide whether or not to use this before or after the action of the Action Surge, which is nice. 16th level gives you an ability score improvement, and you know what? Let's actually take one. Plenty of places we could put it in: strength for more damage, better shoving and grappling, dexterity for AC, constitution for health, intelligence for better counterspells and spells in general if you're using things other than shield, which you shouldn't be, and charisma if you want to boost your inspiring leader bonus. I always recommend rounding off the odd numbers, might as well get something for leveling up. At the 17th level, you get another Action Surge and another Indomitable use. Steve Rogers is a man of great stamina, after all.
I could do this all day.
18th level, you get Improved War Magic, which lets you use a full spell and use a bonus action for a weapon attack on the same turn. Technically 3 weapon attacks, soon to be 4. 19th level is your final ability score improvement, and there's plenty of places you could put these ability scores, but I'd cap off your strength. This could mitigate some of the lower damage you're dealing with your primary attack only doing 1d4. You'd also lean into the tank mentality and pick the tough feat, giving you an extra 2 HP for every level, which would be 40 when you hit level 20. You also get a 4th level spell slot, so bump up the power of that counter spell and shut down a 4th level spell automatically. 20th level, you get another extra attack. This may seem uneventful for a capstone, but you get to hit 4 things every round, so that's pretty good. Now that we've hit level 20, let's talk about how viable of a build this is. Firstly, Captain America is an excellent tank with 172 health, roughly, if you took the tough feat, a decent AC and abilities to keep the team alive as well. 4 attacks per round isn't bad, minimum of 20 damage per round if everything hits, and with a plus 10 hit, it should. Still, it could be better, and that's where we get into the cons. Damage is consistent but low. Why anyone would play a fighter and only use D4s for damage is beyond me. Ideally, your DM will feel merciful and allow you to use a D6 for your shield. It's not that big of an ask. A lot of light weapons deal D6s. Additionally, you'll get surprised a lot with the wisdom as a dump stat. You'll get your brain taken over by witches, and you'll get knocked down by their speedy brother. Out of combat, he's athletic enough to chase other people down. He's got a couple of face skills if they're needed, but other than that, doesn't have a lot to offer. Overall, the first Avenger is not the best fighter he could be, but he's in the fight for the long haul. Get in the middle of the fray, bash people up with your shield, and keep the rest of the frontline party members from getting hit. Just remember, you work better with a team, particularly someone a bit more observant.